Welcome back. Well, we've seen Tara Rajkumar teaching Indian dance and describing how gestures and facial expressions tell the story of some Indian myths and legends. As we heard, next week, as part of the Festival of India, Tara will be performing in a 10-day event at the Commonwealth Institute in London. Today, in this studio, and I think it's for the very first time on any television, we're going to see Tara performing one of the great female solos in Kathakali dancing, The Salvation of Putana. And I noticed earlier when you said on the film, dancing a story, not dancing a dance. So the story of Putana we'll have to know, won't we, before we can understand what we see.
Yes, I think so. Kathakali itself, Katha is a story, and Kali is the enacting of the story through mime and movement. So this is very true of Putana Moksham. It's an entire story being told through by one person, but very dramatically. Putana is a demoness, you see, and she's ordered by a cruel king, Kamsa, to go to Ambadi, the village, and kill the infant god Krishna. You see, because the king has heard that this little one, when he grows up, will kill him, which has made him scared, and he's ordered this demoness to go and kill Krishna. The demoness assumes the form of a beautiful woman and goes into Ambadi. That's the village. Now, I must say this item is usually very long, in the sense it's very elaborate, descriptive, as well as dramatic, and usually lasts about half an hour to 45 minutes. So I'm going to take you through the first stages, so that you'll know what all she sees. Mm-hmm. You see, she sort of stealthily goes into the village.
When you say she, we must remember, though, it's a demon who's just taken on female form. Yes. Is that right?
Yes. The demoness actually assumes the form of a beautiful woman. You know, so that she transforms herself so that she's not noticed. And then she goes slowly into the village, you know, sort of stealthily. And when she gets in there and has a look at the village, she's enchanted. She says, it's beautiful. I've never seen anything like this before. And then she goes on to describe it. She sees a lot of beautiful village girls dancing. And then she describes how the stringed instrument is played by some of them, the veena, the flute, cymbals, the drums. She shows all this. And then she actually describes two girls dancing, two village girls dancing. So there's a whole lot of dance there, a dance sequence. And then she goes in further, and she's the huge Govardhana mountain, on top of which are many, many peacocks with their beautiful wings spread out. And then there's the dance of the peacock. She describes that, and then goes further into the courtyard of the house in which lies Krishna. And there she sees a lot of village girls sitting and churning butter from yogurt, which you don't see in this country, but we still do in the villages of India. You know, literally sit on the floor with a rope and a stick. You sort of really churn the butter out. So the Putana describes all this, and then she suddenly remembers what she's come for.
And this, I think, is where the excerpt we've selected starts. Yes. She sees the infant Krishna.
That's right. No, she slowly goes towards the door, stealthily again, and opens the door of the room in which lies Krishna. And then she sees the baby, and she's surprised at its beauty. There's a halo around the baby. And she has some peculiar feelings, finer feelings which she's never felt before. It surges up within her. And the more she looks at the baby, the more attracted she gets towards him. And it comes to a stage where she feels she cannot kill him. When she looks at him, there he lies, sucking his toe, and looking up at her face so innocently that all the motherly feelings which she's never ever felt before, because she's killed many children before that, you know, I mean, she goes and picks up the baby and decides to go away without killing him, leaves him there. And she's about to turn back. Then she remembers the wrath of the cruel king that awaits her, who would behead her and throw her head away if she does not kill the baby. So she rushes back and takes the baby and says, this is my destiny. There is a premonition. She feels there's something odd here. But she picks up the baby, closes the windows, comes back, and smearing poison, she suckles him at her bosom. And instead of the child dying, he sucks the very life out of Putana. Writhing in pain towards the end, there's a dramatic change you'll see in the item. And she turns back into a demonic form, But before falling dead, she sees a vision and attains salvation because she loved Krishna for that amount of time in between.
Well,
That's
Tara,
the
thank you
dramatic
very
story.
much. Really, it's a story, I suppose, of innocence triumphing over true evil,
Yes,
right?
yes, indeed.
Tara, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you
you're
for
welcome.
performing for us. We're going to see that in a few seconds.
Thank you.
Actually, in about 10 seconds, Tara will magically transform herself into the beautifully made up but the thoroughly evil demoness Putana, and we join the dance just as she discovers the infant Krishna.